Carl Jung left us a profound and life-altering legacy, the possibility of diving deep into the unexplored territories of our own being. What he offered wasn't merely an abstract philosophical or psychological theory, it was a heartfelt invitation, a call to embark on a personal journey toward discovering a truth so powerful that it has the potential to completely transform the way we experience life. If you've ever felt like something is missing in your life, as if there's an emptiness inside you that no relationship, no success, no material possession has ever truly managed to fill, then you are exactly where you need to be. This message, timeless and universal, is meant for you. From the earliest days of his work exploring the complexities of the human psyche, Jung came to understand a crucial truth. Within every individual lies an immense, largely uncharted inner universe. But this internal world doesn't reveal itself through the noise of everyday life. It isn't found in external achievements, the validation of others, or the constant demands of the outside world. Instead, this universe dwells quietly, patiently, in the depths of our unconscious, waiting, sometimes for years, for us to develop the courage to listen to it. Perhaps like many others, you've experienced moments when an unshakable, almost indescribable feeling washed over you. A sense of being disconnected, of walking through life as if following a script someone else wrote. A narrative that doesn't quite fit who you truly are. That feeling, though uncomfortable, is not your enemy. It's not a flaw. In fact, it's a gift. It is your unconscious mind trying to get your attention, trying to whisper that something is out of alignment, that there are parts of you you've buried, ignored, or rejected for far too long. Jung taught that we cannot live fully if we continue to ignore these inner signals. He spoke about the importance of integrating all the pieces of ourselves, even those that we fear, dislike, or have been taught to suppress. He referred to these hidden aspects as the shadow, the parts of our psyche we repress because they don't match the image we want to present to the world. But what Jung discovered was revolutionary. Those rejected parts are not just baggage. They are essential components of our true identity. Without them, we are incomplete. If you've ever felt that nagging sense that something important is missing from your life, you are not alone. Most people spend the majority of their lives trying to fill that inner void with things outside of themselves. They chase relationships, accolades, money, fame, hoping that these things will finally make them feel whole. But Jung saw through this illusion. He realized that the emptiness people feel cannot be resolved by accumulating more things. The void can only be filled by turning inward, by reconnecting with one's essence, and by exploring the vast depths of one's authentic self. Take a moment to reflect. How many of your life choices have been shaped by what others expect of you? How often have you silenced that quiet inner voice, the one that told you, deep down, that you were walking a path not meant for you? Jung believed that every time we do this, every time we betray our intuition to meet external expectations, we drift further away from our true selves. This disconnection doesn't just rob us of peace, it slowly erodes the quality of our relationships, our sense of purpose, and our ability to feel genuinely fulfilled. Maybe you've been in relationships that seemed ideal on the surface, but left you feeling inexplicably dissatisfied. Or perhaps you've followed a career path that others admire, yet deep inside, it leaves you feeling hollow. These are not random events. They are signals, messages from your unconscious, nudging you to pause, to question, and to redirect your life's course. The journey into the shadow may seem daunting at first, After all, it involves acknowledging and embracing parts of yourself that you've hidden away for years, maybe even decades. It means confronting the fears, resentments, and insecurities that you've pretended didn't exist. But here's the secret. The more you run from your shadow, the more power it gains over you. It doesn't disappear just because you refuse to see it. In fact, it grows heavier and more disruptive, influencing your decisions, sabotaging your relationships, and limiting your ability to live as your most authentic self. However, when you finally choose to turn around and face your shadow, when you step into that darkness with open eyes and an open heart, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to feel lighter, freer. A sense of inner peace begins to emerge. You realize that those parts of yourself you once feared are not your enemies. They are not the villains of your story. They are your missing pieces, the keys to becoming whole. Imagine for just a moment how your life could change if you stopped trying to be perfect, if you stopped living to please others, if instead you devoted yourself to simply being real, being you. That's the essence of Jung's message. Wholeness isn't about perfection. It's not about chasing some ideal version of yourself. It's about embracing every part of who you are, even the messy, complicated, shadowy parts. And when you begin this process of integration, when you allow yourself to see, accept, and reintegrate the parts of you that were once hidden, your entire reality begins to shift. Your relationships evolve. You no longer feel compelled to seek constant validation or to mold yourself to fit into other people's expectations. Instead, you start attracting people who resonate with your truth, who see and value you for who you really are. These new connections are deeper, more meaningful. They're not based on masks or illusions, but on the solid ground of shared authenticity. Of course, this journey is not without its challenges. Jung was clear about that. Facing ourselves, really facing ourselves, requires immense courage. It's not always easy to admit that parts of us are wounded, selfish, angry, or afraid. But Jung believed something deeply empowering, that the discomfort we feel in this process is not punishment. It's the cost of transformation. It's the bridge between the life we're living and the life we're truly meant to live. Have you ever noticed how certain patterns keep repeating in your life? Maybe you always seem to end up in relationships where you feel undervalued, or perhaps you keep choosing paths that lead to frustration instead of fulfillment. According to Jung, these patterns are not coincidences. They are the language of the unconscious. They are signals, coded messages, trying to show us what we need to learn, what we need to face, and what we need to integrate. Until we confront these inner lessons, we're doomed to repeat them over and over. Because the unconscious does not give up. It speaks not in words, but in dreams, symbols, and emotions. That's why the moments when life feels most chaotic or confusing are often the ones that carry the greatest potential for insight. In the heart of that messiness, within the very chaos you want to escape, you will often find the exact clues you need to uncover your truth. Your unconscious is not your enemy. It's your guide. It's been waiting, patiently, for you to slow down, to look inward, and to begin the most important journey of your life, the journey back to yourself. One of the most profound and essential concepts in Carl Jung's teachings is the idea of synchronicity. This isn't just a philosophical notion, it's a transformative way of seeing the world. Synchronicity refers to those seemingly coincidental moments in life when external events align perfectly with our inner thoughts, feelings, or emotional states. These are not random accidents. They are not mere chance. They are signs, deeply meaningful connections between the inner and outer worlds that seem to whisper to us, "You are on the right path." They're reminders that we are not alone, that something greater is at play, and that when we live in harmony with our inner truth, life reflects that alignment in subtle and powerful ways. But in order to perceive these signs, we must cultivate presence. We must be awake. We must be tuned into ourselves, our emotions, our thoughts, and the subtle cues from the world around us. Imagine for a moment that every challenge you face, every moment of tension or difficulty, isn't a punishment or misfortune, but an invitation, an opportunity to evolve. What if each obstacle was not a wall to block your way, but a doorway, leading you to deeper understanding, to personal growth, to parts of yourself you've yet to discover? This shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms the way you interpret your struggles, and more importantly, the way you live your life. You stop resisting change. You stop fearing uncertainty. Instead, you begin to embrace it. You begin to see chaos not as something to be avoided, but as a fertile ground for transformation, for learning, for inner strength to take root. Life becomes less about control and more about trust. Trust in yourself, in the process, and in the unseen forces guiding you from within. Throughout your journey, you will encounter people who try to define you. Society, with all its expectations and norms, will attempt to mold you into something that fits neatly into a predetermined box. It will tell you who you should be, how you should behave, what path you must follow to be accepted or successful. But Jung's work reminds us that true fulfillment doesn't come from conformity. It comes from authenticity, from daring to live your own truth, even when it means going against the grain. When you choose to walk this path, your path, something powerful begins to shift inside you. You begin to act from a place of inner knowing. Your decisions are no longer based on fear or a desire to please others. Instead, they are born from a genuine commitment to honoring who you really are. This is the essence of inner transformation. It liberates you. It gives you permission to live a life that feels truly your own. A life not shaped by external validation, but by internal clarity and courage. You may now be wondering, how do I begin this journey? Where do I start? The answer, surprisingly, is simpler than it seems. You start by listening, truly listening. Listen to your intuition, that soft inner voice that's always been there, quietly guiding you even when you've ignored it. Listen to your emotions, even the ones that are painful or uncomfortable. They have messages for you. Listen to your body, to the subtle sensations it offers in response to your environment, to your decisions, to the people around you. These are the ways your unconscious communicates with you. These are the signs. And when you begin to pay attention, your inner world begins to open. This isn't a one-time task. This isn't something you do once and check off a list. It's a lifelong relationship with yourself, a practice of self-inquiry and self-compassion. It's choosing every day to sit with yourself, to reflect, to journal, to meditate, or simply to be still and listen. And as you do, your connection to your own truth deepens. It grows stronger, more stable, more alive. You begin to see life not as a collection of random experiences, but as a coherent narrative, your story. This doesn't mean that life becomes easy or that you'll never face challenges again, but it does mean you'll face them differently. You'll face them from a place of resilience, of inner grounding, of trust in your own capacity to navigate whatever comes your way. Jung referred to this process as individuation, the path to becoming whole, to becoming who you were always meant to be. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've lost or hidden or denied. Your dreams, your fears, your longings, even your shadows. Individuation is the journey of integrating all that you are. It's about becoming complete, not perfect, but whole. And to do this, you must learn to let go. Let go of the beliefs that have held you back. Let go of relationships that drain you. Let go of versions of yourself that no longer reflect who you truly are. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength. It is a courageous act of making space for the new, the unknown, the extraordinary. Ask yourself, have you ever held on to something long past its expiration? Maybe a relationship that no longer brings you joy, but you keep out of fear of change, or a job that feels lifeless, but you convince yourself it's necessary because it feels safe. These are signs. They are invitations from your deeper self, urging you to move, to shift, to evolve. And when you finally release what no longer serves you, you take a step into the unknown. Yes, it can feel terrifying, but it is also incredibly liberating, because it is in this space of uncertainty that transformation truly begins. It's where magic happens, where new doors open, new people enter your life, and new possibilities emerge. But to arrive here, you must trust. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust that even when life doesn't go according to plan, you are exactly where you need to be. That there is meaning even in the mess. That your unconscious, what Jung believed to be intimately connected with the universe itself, is always guiding you, supporting you, nudging you toward your highest self. And most importantly, trust that everything you need is already within you. The strength, the clarity, the wisdom, the courage. It has always been there, waiting for you to remember who you are, waiting for you to awaken to the truth that you are not broken, not lost, but becoming, always becoming. And in that becoming lies the deepest power of all, the power to live a life that is honest, meaningful, and fully your own. This journey is not one you are meant to walk alone. While self-exploration is an intimate and deeply personal process, surrounding yourself with people who genuinely support your growth can create a profound difference. Seek meaningful connections, relationships that uplift you, challenge you, and inspire you to be more of who you truly are, not less. These kinds of people act as mirrors, reflecting your inner light back to you and helping you grow into the best version of yourself. It's important to remember that every single step you take on this path has an impact far beyond your individual experience. Carl Jung believed that by transforming our individual consciousness, we contribute to the evolution of the collective consciousness. In other words, when you choose to heal your wounds, face your shadows, and live from a place of truth and authenticity, you're not only changing your life, you're also creating a ripple effect that inspires and empowers those around you. The true power of this message doesn't lie solely in understanding it intellectually, it lies in living it. Each day, each moment, presents you with a new opportunity to choose authenticity over conformity, to listen to the quiet wisdom of your intuition instead of the chaotic noise of the world outside, and to align your actions with the deeper truth of who you are. These small, consistent acts of daily courage are what ultimately create lasting transformation in your life. Imagine just for a moment, a life where you wake up each day feeling whole, truly connected to yourself and to the world around you. A life where you no longer feel the pressure to wear a mask or to live up to expectations that were never really yours. A life where everything you do flows naturally from a place of truth, not obligation. This kind of life is not some distant, unreachable dream. It is entirely possible for you if you're willing to do the inner work and walk your path with courage. An authentic life doesn't mean a life without challenges. It doesn't mean you'll never stumble or feel lost. It means that when those moments come, and they will, you'll face them with the deep inner knowing that they are there to teach you, to shape you, and to lead you to a more expanded, more awakened version of yourself. This shift in perspective transforms even your darkest moments into valuable opportunities for growth. Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." But that pain isn't something to fear. It's not a punishment. It's part of the process. It is the friction that comes from growth, from shedding old layers and outdated beliefs. Each time you face your fears, embrace your shadows, or let go of something that no longer serves you, you are making space for something greater to enter your life. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're evolving. Think of it like this. The effort and strain you experience are much like what it takes to break free from a protective shell. That shell may have kept you safe for a time, but eventually it becomes the very thing that limits your growth. Every small step forward, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is an act of bravery. It is a declaration of self-love, and authenticity is at the heart of it all. When you choose to be authentic, you stop wasting energy trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you. Instead, you redirect that energy into creating a life that reflects your true essence. This not only brings a deep sense of fulfillment, but it also inspires others to do the same. As you continue walking this path, you'll begin to notice that you start attracting situations and people who are genuinely aligned with your soul. This isn't magic, and it's not coincidence. It's the natural result of living in alignment with your truth. Jung described this phenomenon as synchronicity, when the external world begins to reflect your internal world in meaningful ways. These moments of synchronicity are powerful confirmations that you're on the right path. It might come as a random conversation that offers clarity just when you need it most, an opportunity that appears out of nowhere, or even a dream that reveals a hidden truth. These aren't random. They are signs that your unconscious mind and the universe are working together to guide you. But to experience this alignment, you have to be willing to trust the process. You won't always have all the answers, and that's okay. Uncertainty is an essential part of the journey. What matters most is that you keep moving forward, one step at a time, guided by the quiet strength of your authenticity. And as you go, it's absolutely vital that you treat yourself with compassion. This journey is not about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself, with others, and with the life you're creating. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when fear seems louder than your determination, when you question your worth or your direction. In those moments, remember this: progress is not linear. Growth comes in waves. Every setback holds within it a lesson, and every challenge is an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. Carl Jung taught us that a fulfilling life doesn't come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from embracing it, from facing it head-on with an open mind and a willing heart. When you choose to see every experience, whether joyful or painful, as a doorway to greater self-awareness, you begin to shift your entire reality. Your perception changes, your energy changes, and the world around you responds in kind. As you continue down this path toward your authentic self, you'll realize that real power isn't about controlling every outcome or avoiding every risk. It's about learning how to flow with life, to surrender, not in defeat, but in trust, to dance with uncertainty and let it guide you toward wisdom, to walk through the fire of transformation and emerge more whole, more radiant, more you than ever before. Carl Jung taught us something profoundly important, that life is not about eliminating chaos, but about finding balance within it. And it is within that balance that we discover something extraordinary, an inner peace that doesn't depend on outside circumstances, but emerges from a deep connection with ourselves and with the world around us. This is not a race. It's not something you can rush, force, or skip ahead in. It's a journey, an unfolding path that invites you to explore, to observe, and to grow, slowly, patiently, and with intention. The process of self-discovery is not always easy. It requires courage to face your own shadows, patience to sit with discomfort, and humility to admit that you are constantly evolving. But every small step you take matters. Every insight, every effort to listen more deeply to your intuition, every moment of clarity, these are all markers along the way that bring you closer to your true self. And in doing so, you begin to transform, not just your inner world, but the outer one too. Because the truth is, when you choose to live in alignment with who you really are, you become a source of light for others. Think about the power you hold. Imagine the impact you could have if more and more people decided to walk this path of authenticity. If they chose to live not by fear or expectation, but from a place of truth and inner knowing. Imagine a world where people were not hiding behind masks, not numbing their pain, but facing it with honesty and choosing to grow from it. That ripple effect, the one that starts with you, has the potential to touch countless lives. That is why this message is so important. It's not just about your personal transformation. It's about how your transformation becomes a mirror, a spark, an invitation for others to begin their own. Every time you share something you've learned, every time you show up in your relationships with honesty and vulnerability, you're contributing to a much larger shift. You're helping to create a world where more people feel safe to be themselves, where authenticity is valued more than perfection, and where growth is seen as a lifelong journey instead of a destination. Now is the time to act. If something in this message resonated with you, if it stirred something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Pass it on to someone who might need to hear it today. Maybe it's a friend going through a tough time. Maybe it's someone who has been searching for meaning, for answers, for a sign to keep going. Be that sign. Be that voice that reminds them they are not alone and that change is possible. Together, we can build a community that nurtures transformation, a space where people can come as they are, grow at their own pace, and feel supported as they uncover their truth. Your story matters, your voice matters, and your willingness to live with authenticity can inspire others to do the same. Let me know in the comments, what part of this message touched your heart? What are you ready to change in your life to align more deeply with your truth? When you share your journey, you not only inspire others, you reinforce your own commitment to yourself. This is how real change begins. This is how you become a living example of the message you carry. You have the power to be a voice for transformation. Don't underestimate the value of a kind word, a shared post, or a heartfelt comment. Every time you engage with content like this, whether by leaving a like, writing a comment, or simply passing it along, you are helping this message reach someone who might desperately need it. You become part of a wave of change that goes far beyond what you can see. Life is full of infinite possibilities, and you, right now, have the power to decide how you want to live it. Dare to be real. Dare to break free from the expectations that hold you back. Dare to ask yourself, who am I really? And then live your life as an honest answer to that question. Because when you do that, you don't just change your story. You become the change the world is waiting for. Thank you for being part of this journey. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, everything starts with you. I'll be waiting.